Hello, beautiful people. My name is Tim Lee Michael. Welcome to my channel here. Draw too much sketch lessons all over the place here. But today, I'm going to do a talking head video. Hopefully, it'll help you. It's something that I want to cover for one of my patrons. I went to my patrons who've supported me for a very long time, and I asked them, what can I teach? What info can I give that would help you because you've been such a long-term supporter? And I got a really great email back from a guy named Juicy. Juicy says, "Hi Tim, first of all I want to thank you." You're welcome. Thank you, by the way. The last month I worked hard on a portfolio for a design university and they took me for their 3-year bachelor diploma program. Congratulations, that's awesome. My theme was line, and so I had photos, philosophic texts, and paintings which covered the theme. One was Riley lines, for example. Another was your triangle of the face with slants, and so on. So your lessons were a big help. That's huge. That's really, really awesome. I'm super excited about that. I'm gonna turn on my 5-minute timer here and try to finish this in 5 minutes, but I don't think I will. But I'm gonna try my best anyway. At least it'll warn me that I need to finish up soon. Anyway, that's huge, by the way. I never got to go to college, and the fact that any information I've given you has helped you get to college, awesome. That's fantastic. Good for you. Honestly, it made me sad when you stopped doing art lessons. I'm so sorry about that. I'm back. I promise I'm back. And it kind of reminded me of my life. I always tried hard to get into a design field, but had to stop so many times because of work, health issues. My ears are quite deaf. I know what you mean. I have hard hearing too. I started a photo business and worked myself through. Good for you. Now I'm very excited to start a new journey and need to think about that way to take. The study has modules like photography, photographic design, graphic design, illustration, typography, etc. I'd love to join illustration, but I'm not sure if there are jobs outside. So maybe, as you worked in the field already, could you do a clip about jobs in the industry? At least that's an idea, if it would interest you. Let me know, please. Otherwise, I'll find something else. So I can absolutely cover that. I've been in many of those industries. All of them except typography. Typography, I'll let someone else do that one. But I've been through many of those. There is a need for graphic designers all over the world. You will not be at a loss for finding work as a graphic designer. Now you have to prove yourself. It's very much like applying for a chance to be in a movie as an actor. You have to have a portfolio of the stuff you've done, and you have to take that and you have to show that to the people that are interested in hiring you. So it takes prep. It takes time. You cannot just say, "I'm a graphic designer," and walk into the job and you hope that they hire you. There needs to be a little bit of prep ahead of time. And some people have done that in some very amazing ways. I used to work at a graphic design shop in Orlando, Florida, and when I was there, a graphic designer came in and literally brought in a coffee cup. And on that coffee cup, it had a logo that he designed, and you opened up the coffee cup and his business card was in there with some other little design things that he'd done. You do have to get a little bit creative in the world of graphic design because you are battling against a bunch of graphic designers in this industry. And truth be told, a lot of younger people like us, millennials, zillennials, people like that, we have a lot of ability to do our own graphics because there are a lot of creative people in this world our age who are creative just by enjoying doing it, not because they've gone to college or anything like that. I personally didn't go to college myself. Now I'm getting off on a bit of a tangent about graphic design and such like that, and I'm actually going to continue that in a few minutes because there's a couple topics I want to hit on with that. But since you're looking at the idea of illustration, I do want to bring that into light as well, of course. When it comes to illustration, I find that illustration is a freelance job. I would say that in this world right now, there are so many artists out there, so many people out there doing stuff. The real way that you're going to make money as an artist, at least as far as I've experienced, is that you work for yourself, that you be self-employed in that world, and you think more like a freelance artist than you do like trying to get a job at a publishing house doing that. Now, I do actually know a publishing house here in Great Falls, and when I told them I was an artist, they go, "Hey, would you be interested in doing some children's books?" So that doesn't mean that you can't work with publishing houses to do that. But if I work with this publishing house, I'm working self-employed with that publishing house, in comparison to the idea that you're going to get hired at Marvel or at DC. All of that is absolutely a possibility. There is no reason why you can't become a hired artist with a firm and be able to do artwork for them. But I'd say it's a harder thing to grasp for. Not impossible. Go for your dreams. No joke. Go for your dreams. Okay? Nothing is impossible in this generation. We are so creative. We have such a wide spectrum of young people who are fully capable of being whatever they want to be if they have the gumption and the effort that they want to put into it to succeed. That's no joke. And so I would say if you want to become an illustrator, there is nothing wrong. Take that illustration module class, because I'm telling you, a lot of the things that you learn in the illustration module that you could learn in that class will help you with other things that you might find that you might change to in the future. When I started my company, Legacy Studio, I started as a graphic designer, web designer, specifically web design. That web design knowledge that I have helped me become a better graphic designer, helped me become a better artist, helped me see things in a wider spectrum. So learning that knowledge, even if you're not going to use it in the future as an illustrator, is going to be very beneficial for where you might move to in the future. Like I said, there is no reason why you can't learn illustration. You could take it and be hired by a company, but I would say from previous experience for myself alone, I've made more money myself, self-employed, doing artwork for individuals than I have trying to work with companies and corporations doing artwork for them. Most people who need an artist are not companies. They'll take a picture before they get an illustration done. And if they do want an illustration done, they're looking for names like Jason Seiler, who does covers for different magazines and things like that. They're looking for those kinds of things. They're not looking for a smaller guy like you or I. They're looking for the big names. Once again, you can totally beat that mold and you can do it, but it's going to require extra effort on your part. So in saying that, let me continue a little bit more on the graphic design side of things. But yeah, it's absolutely doable, and I did it for many years. I got a graphic design job so I could marry my wife, and even now I'm still a graphic designer, a videographer, and a photographer. Now, in saying this, I do think that you need to be multi-trained. I think that that's a really key thing. Don't just call yourself a graphic designer. Learn to use a camera. Learn to take good pictures. Learn to make good video. Learn to do little aspects of every piece of these jobs, so that you don't just walk into the job and go, I'm a graphic designer, and the guy next to you goes, yeah, graphic designer and websites, and next thing you know, you're out of a job. It's really beneficial if you put several different tasks under your belt. So the fact that this has several modules, photography, graphic design, illustration, typography, I would take all of those modules if you could afford it. And the reason being is when I was hiring someone to take my place at my job before I moved here to Montana, I listened to what each one said. I know that when I was working there, I was doing graphic design, I was doing photography, and I was doing website design and social media. And those were all things that, in my opinion, were encompassed in the world of graphic design. It all fell into that same nutshell, because I was designing graphics for Facebook just as I was designing graphics for our website. So all of that came into key, and maybe we did a wrap on a vehicle. Well, we need to have a good quality picture taken of it. Well, I know how to use a camera, so that did that. So you can see that everything kind of mixes together. The more you know, the more value you're going to be. Let me tell you a quick story. I know I'm about out of time, but when we moved here to Montana, I could not find a graphic design job. I looked everywhere. I did find one. They let me go and then went out of business. Where you live is very dependent on the kind of jobs you're going to find. Oh, shut up. I'm still talking here. This video is going long. Sit tight if you do enjoy it. Hit the like button anyway. With that said, when being here and being in this industry, in the graphic design industry here in Great Falls in Montana, I had to create that job for myself for a long time there, and I've done I think I've done other videos like on Facebook about this and my depression that I went through and stuff because I couldn't find work. You will go through really bad times to find the really good times. I guarantee it. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, you're gonna fall, and you can just stand back up and keep walking. When I was looking for a job, I found a job at a radio station here in town, and I worked part-time. And while I was working part-time doing that, I just did the very best I can. I put my extra foot forward, and I showed people that I had some value. And from doing that, then they're like, well, what else can you do? And I was able to tell them, well, websites, social media, illustration, illustrator, or being a graphic designer. Did I say social media? Did I say websites? I mean, seriously, videographer, which is a major part of my job now, being a videographer. And by the time I got done explaining all these things, their brains were reeling. I mean, how can one person know so many different things? And they literally said, we don't have a position available, but we're going to hire you anyway, and we're going to try you out. And so they hired me to do all their social media, all their graphic design, all their photos, all their videos, all their everything that has to do with anything digital. I'm the director of digital operations at Star Radio Digital, at Star Radio. And I created a separate department called Star Radio Digital that's now exploding and going very, very well. Only because I had all those different pieces in my repertoire. And they hired someone that they didn't have a plan to hire for because they were inspired by the amount of work that I would be capable of doing. So as you're looking to move into the future and you're thinking, hey, I want to get a job in this, you need to be thinking in the broad spectrum. Back in the day before we had such thing as cell phones and cameras, and exactly like the camera I'm talking into here, there were different positions for camera guys in movies. You would get a job as a camera guy. You get a job as an editor. You get a job as a gaffer. You get a job as an audio technician. And each one of these was a separate job. But right now, in this very moment, as I'm creating this video for you, I am recording a video. Once I'm done recording that video, I'm editing that video. Once I'm done editing that video, I'm checking the audio quality. Once I'm done with that, then I'm producing it to the web. All of those that were individual jobs back 20, 30 years ago are now one job. And that's the same boat of graphic design. So focus on learning the broad spectrum. Don't become just a graphic designer. Become a social media consultant. Become a photographer. Become a videographer. See all the different aspects that can make you amazing and worth selling. Right now, I'm hired out separately from Star Radio as a social media consultant. I help companies make their businesses better because they need help with social media, because they can't do it themselves. That's something that I can do for them. This is the kind of stuff that you need to be looking at if you're looking to move into any world, because graphic design is not just graphic design anymore. It's so widespread. There are so many different things that can happen in graphic design that you can reach out for. You're not just designing signs. You're not just designing any little flyers or things. You're designing the globe. I mean, it's intense, the things that you could be capable of doing. So don't just lock yourself down to one portion of that. Typography? I download everyone else's fonts. Those who are typographyists, you're amazing. Thank you for all your hard work. You make beautiful stuff in our world. I think I've about covered it, and I'm sure I've gone far over time, but I hope that helps you and inspires you to think outside the box. The world for us young people is so wide open. Look at what different YouTubers are doing, reaching out with a job that you'd never expected anyone would get the chance to do. Traveling the globe, making videos about travel vlogs. And this is a job that pays a really good paycheck. And if you can just get enough information, knowledge, under your belt of many different opportunities, when you walk into your employer's office and humbly tell them what you do, you could have a really cool job under your belt like I get to do. All right? Hope that helped. Juicy, thank you for being a Patreon supporter. Really appreciate you, man. If anyone else wants to support on Patreon, you can do that right down below. The link is in the description. Don't forget, we're working on a series of tutorials on caricatures and so much more in lines of art. Lots of videos coming your way. I am back, YouTube, and I am going to kick some butt. Get ready. We got some cool videos coming your way. Thank you for watching. Thanks for how long this went. Sorry about that. We'll see you in the next one.